Good morning, everybody, and this is Spin Doc welcoming you back to another edition of the Spin Zone for Thursday, May 1st. New month, new money. So we are kicking it off today. Got three pitchers to talk about, have a whole bunch of stuff to review from yesterday and going forward. So let's get right into it. To start with, if you haven't yet, please give a subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. Please like the video. Please share it. Please repost it on X. Give me a follow. Spin Doc Sports gets you access to all the information, all the stuff that we put out when it happens. So really appreciate everybody so far, and we are ready to roll. So we always start. What did we learn yesterday? What happened yesterday? What can we take from it? The first thing I want to talk about is the game out in Philadelphia where Christopher Sanchez kind of looked like Christopher Sanchez. The strikeouts were set, I thought, at a rate where potentially could induce a whole bunch of ground balls. And that's actually kind of what he did. So Sanchez pitched 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and just barely hit the over. So just barely hit the over at the 6th there. So got it at the very end. Was getting a little wild at the end. And his velo went down towards the end. But he did last 87 pitches. He got through 5 innings. So for a guy that was just coming off of a forearm injury, that was pretty good. Overall, it was a pretty good start for Sanchez. Early on, you saw his velo was up. You saw his pretty much everything looked up. And so overall, he did a really, really nice job. Did not appear to hear about any issues with the forearm afterwards. So I think that as long as there's no setbacks anywhere at any point, I think that we can call this injury pretty much a non-issue for going forward. So Christopher Sanchez, like I said, he kind of looked like Christopher Sanchez. Speaking of guys that looked like themselves, Chris Sale did too. Chris Sale absolutely torched the Rockies yesterday. And so I talked about it yesterday. If you're playing anything against the Rockies from a strikeout perspective, it's over or nothing. Under is not an option, no matter who the pitcher is. So, but Sale looked great. His slider, because I watched most of his start, his slider looked absolutely brutal. It was biting. It was dropping off the table. I talked about how some breaking balls are impacted by that atmospheric event with the lack of air molecules at Coors. But Sales is not as likely to be impacted because of the way it runs. And it just ran hard in, and these guys were whiffing like crazy. Sale, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. They never really had a chance. And I think the first 5 guys he struck out were with the slider, all of them with the exact same pitch. And there were a few guys in the Rockies lineup were actually Beck and McMahon were 0 for 3 with 3 Ks and didn't even really come particularly close to hitting the baseball. So is Chris Sale back? I mean, I think we got to give him credit for this start. I think you also have to take into account the quality of opponent. So I am a huge Chris Sale fan, so I really hope that he is. It was painful. It was a little bit tougher to watch his last start before that against Arizona. and watch him struggle to throw strikes. So this was good. He was pounding the zone early and then just wiped them out with that slider. So it was a really, really, really good start for Chris Sale. I am excited to see what he puts up next. So elsewhere is that Tony Gonsolin. Man, welcome back. Welcome back to the Bigs, Tony Gonsolin. We didn't talk about him yet. I mean, we talked about him a little bit yesterday, but 9 Ks in 6 innings. Just absolutely looked like a beast yesterday. Absolutely looked like a beast yesterday. Only got 77 pitches in. That was, I think, a little bit more by design with his being his first start back. 75 to 80 was probably the number that the Dodgers had in mind. But if you did happen to play him from a strikeout prop perspective, good on you, because that one hit very, very easily. His fastball looked good. His breaking stuff looked really good. So it would be nice for the Dodgers to add Gonsolin back into this rotation because of some of the other injuries, like we don't know what's going on with Glasnow right now, et cetera. So it'd be really nice if he could come back in and just take over a regular starter role, because the man's definitely got big league talent for sure. And then the only other one I see, I want to welcome in Roger. Happy May Day. I see in the chat to you as well. You talked about, Giolito. Huh. Yeah, I said it in VIP. I said we must be in like 2019 or some 2021 or something like that, because the matchup yesterday was Eric Lauer against Lucas Giolito, which Giolito looked just outstanding. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. And he had a lot of stuff that looked like the Giolito of old. Admittedly, I didn't catch a ton of his start, but the stuff that I did looked really, really good. I'll be interested to see how he's lined next game, because obviously he had either a 3.5 and a 4 or a 4.5, and he just destroyed that. I'll be interested to see in his next start what they line him at, if they're going to say, okay, we're just going to wait and we're going to see, or maybe we bump him up one to think that, okay, he has some of his old magic back. But was an absolutely fantastic start for Lucas Giolito yesterday. And I'm always a big believer in when a guy comes back from injury, or when it's a guy's first start of the year, unless it's like opening day or opening week, I tend not to look too hard at him from a prop perspective. Same philosophy with Gonsolin. Didn't know how long he was going to go. Didn't know what the what the manager's plan for him was. Always a chance that whatever's ailing that pitcher could flare up again, et cetera. So it's hard for me to back a guy in that spot. So I'm always kind of like a show me person, and Giolito showed me yesterday. So I am definitely going to see what he's lined at with his next start. All right. That kind of will take care of most of the stuff yesterday. And before we get to the business of today, it's May Day. Happy May Day to you as well, Roger. Appreciate you being here as always. Mario joining us, always here. Good morning and happy Thursday. It's not Wednesday. Happy Thursday to you. Trying to rob FanDuel. Good morning. Welcome in. Always with us, as is Mom Who Bets. Appreciate you being here. And Uncle Stoner, welcome in. Appreciate you as well. Thank you so much all for being here. Appreciate you guys, but let's get on to the business of today. I have the swing chart all updated. These numbers for the swing chart before we put up our first pitcher are as of this morning. So this is everything for the last 2 weeks through last night. And I mean, it was pretty obvious who the first guy is going to be. It's Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens striking out guys at a 27.5% clip. He gets the Cubs today. This game, this is an early one. So If you're watching live, know this. If you're watching on replay or after the fact, just watch your clock, because this one starts relatively soon, about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now. So we get an over 6.5 at -126, an under 6.5 at -102. The Cubs projected lineup is no longer projected. It is their actual lineup for today. And Skeens will get 5 lefties, I should say, and 4 righties. Now, when I look at Skeens, man, he sure looked like the Paul Skeens of old out in LA. And I also talked about his catcher situation. Henry Davis was catching him out there. Davis is behind the plate for him today. I would probably expect that would be the case, at least for the immediate future, to have Davis catch Skeens. And it's been working pretty well. So Skeens overall, from a numbers perspective, he's been at 6.5 his last 3 starts in a row after being at 7.5 for the first 3. To the 6.5, he is 3-3, and 2 other starts with 6. Now, given the Cubs contact metrics, which you can see over here, overall the number 1 team over the last 2 weeks, this has been pretty true for most of the year, is that the Cubs have a ton of zone contact, which is going to be key, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So Cubs have a 90% zone contact rate over the last few weeks. Pitchers that they faced, a couple have been okay, a couple have been decent, other guys, not so much. So like, they've seen Nola, they've seen Wheeler, they've seen a couple of guys like that, and then they've seen some bums. So overall, though, Cubs, very, very disciplined team, very, very solid contact metrics rate. But Skeens for the year, and we talked about this the last time that we had him up here as a potential guy, is Skeens has lived a lot more in the zone this year, 50.4% last year versus 52% this year. And he's getting guys to swing in the zone a heck of a lot more. So last year, he got a little bit more chase, whereas this year he's relying a little bit more on getting lack of zone contact. So you have a little bit of a conflict here, because you do have a Cubs team that has, as a team, is pretty outstanding in zone contact. Now, this Cubs lineup is, for the most part, it's their usual lineup. And this lineup has a kind of limited history against Skeens, but you do have a few guys that have had some strikeout issues. So Suzuki has struck out 4 times in 9 plate appearances. Ian Happ, who's leading off, has struck out 5 out of 10. Michael Busch, who's batting cleanup, is also 5 out of 10. And you also have a few other guys like Dansby Swanson and PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, who Skeens has gotten multiple times. So there's plenty of history here that would suggest that Skeens could have a very, very nice start from a strikeout perspective, even given how tough the Cubs are to strike out. So I go to the starting lineup and I'm looking for zone contact because of where Skeens spends his time. And I see Happ is above average. Tucker is above average. Tucker has not, I'm sorry, no, Tucker's not in. I apologize. Tucker was in the projected lineup. Oh, no, he is. I'm sorry. Tucker is in. I'm sorry. Kyle Tucker is in. He has not faced Skeens. My bad. So Kyle Tucker, above average. You have Suzuki, who's under average and has that history. So that's a strikeout issue right there. You have Michael Busch, who's under. So that's a strikeout potential right there. You have Nico Hoerner, who Skeens has not gotten yet and has a very high zone contact rate. That would be a dead spot for me. PCA with the strikeout history, zone contact, possibly one. Amaya, I see that he has limited history, but lower zone contact. That could be one. And then I already talked about Dansby Swanson. And then last but not least, a change from the normal, Nicky Lopez, who Skeens has not faced, limited history this year with the Cubs. Has always had some decent contact metrics. So what I see when I go up and down this lineup is I do see 5 for I see 5 for sure. I see 6 most likely, Now the question is, with the way the number is, can he get 7? So to get 7, what I'm seeing here is he's going to have to get one of the really high contact guys that he hasn't faced yet. So being Nicky Lopez or well, Nico is probably going to be really hard to get, but Nicky Lopez, if he gets him, that would really help his cause. Or he's going to have to get one of the guys that he has gotten many times, like Hap or Swanson or Bush. He's going to have to get them multiple times. Those things are going to have to happen in order for Skeens to get the 7 today, based on what I'm seeing, how the numbers shake out. Now, when it's close like this, which I think that it is, I do or can use the umpire as a tiebreaker. And our umpire today is very, very good if you like the over. We have Lance Barrett. Lance Barrett is a pitcher's umpire. Strikeouts can go up by as much as 10 to 12% when he is in. He also has a 22% K rate, which is above umpire average. And his overall strikeout percent, or his overall strikeouts for the year, last year he was sitting right around 17, which is above average. This year, 6 games, averaging 20 strikeouts per game. So he does have a very wide zone. He's not Bill Miller, but he has a wide zone. And that matters because when you look at this Cubs lineup, you look at a few of the guys that are in today, and you don't necessarily see a whole, like, there are a few that have some pretty low zone swing rates. So Hap has a low zone swing rate. Nico Hoerner has a low zone swing rate. Suzuki has a low zone swing rate. So I see that Hap and Suzuki and probably Swanson are potential multiple strikeout guys. So even though it's the Cubs, even though their team metrics are quite good, I am not afraid at all of an over here. I'm not afraid at all of an over here, especially when I see that the only thing that gives me a little pause before was the lack of an outs prop. Now that did just go up at multiple places. It's at a 17.5 juice to the over, which is, or 18.5 juice to the under, which means he's going 6. So he's going to need at least 1 inning with 2 Ks, which can definitely happen against this lineup. So I would be very, very willing to take a shot here on the over, which right now, the best price you can get is, I see on DraftKings, over 6.5 is -115. So I will make that an official show play here for Paul Skeens over 6.5. I would go a half unit for sure. The Cubs' overall contact metrics give me a little pause to go all the way, but again, when you really break it down to that level, there's a ton of strikeout potential, a lot more than you would think by looking at the team metrics in this lineup. So that would be Paul Skeens. Now, not a whole lot of other true blue aces going out there today, so I had to be creative in getting the other 2. So the next one is technically an ace for his staff, but hasn't really pitched like it this year. Zach Gallen, the righty, striking guys out at a 24.5% clip, gets the Mets. This is at 1:10 p.m. Eastern time, and we have a pretty evenly juiced 5.5. That should be 5.5, not 6.5. We have a pretty evenly juiced 5.5 for Mr. Gallen, and you get that pretty much across the board. So Gallen has been a little enigmatic this year. From a strikeout perspective to 6+, he is 2-4 with not getting it against he missed it against the Cubs both times, which we just talked about their contact. That's not really a huge surprise. He needed a lot of pitches and he needed a lot of help to get it against Atlanta at home. I watched that start. Actually, I had him in VIP in a parlay, which thank God hit, but he was all over the place. Was overthrowing. His fastball only was at like 93, 94. It just looked very pedestrian. And Gallen is a kind of guy where he's like it's kind of like Jack Flaherty, to be honest with you, because he goes fastball, knuckle, curve, changeup, which is all the pitches Flaherty throws. Doesn't have a dominating four seamer. Only averages 93. You can run it up to 95 if he needs to. Every once in a while, 96. And that reminds me of Jack Flaherty. And he gets guys with a knuckle curve that runs that runs almost parallel to each other. So Gallen's curve is almost a traditional 12-6 curve, meaning starts here and then drops straight down versus a curve that snaps one way or the other. The curve does hit in the 6 to 7 range almost exclusively, whereas his fastball and his cutter run high in the 12-1 area. So those are the areas that Gallen typically works, are top and bottom of the zone. And he just was not him. He was missing the top of the zone badly in his last start. He settled in and had a few guys in the Braves lineup that were easily gettable to cause him to get there. But overall, just I did not think looked that great. So even in the one of his starts where he's got 6, he's kind of struggled to do it. He's kind of struggled to do it. So he the other thing with Gallen is that he's had a little bit of velo issues up and down. He's still hovering around that 93, but he has had games where he's been 92-ish on his four-seam fastball. And when you use your four-seam fastball to set up guys for a curve or to get fouls, that can be an issue. And so he gets a Mets team where you see that they have a lot of chase contact. And a lot of and a decent amount of zone contact, but it's the chase contact here for the Mets. And the reason why that's important is that Gallen is only making guys chase at 22.6%. That is below league average, even though he's in the zone at 45.4%, which is under pitcher average. So he's outside of the zone and he's not making guys chase. And when they do chase, they don't make contact very well. Mets projected lineup as of right now is 5 lefties, 4 righties. There's ample history here between Gallen and a lot of these guys. So Soto doesn't have great history. He doesn't have a great history against Soto, 5-24. He's only struck out Lindor 1-11. He does have decent history against Alonso, 6-16, and against Jeff McNeil, who is projected to bat in the 8-hole right now. He has 4 Ks in 16 plate appearances, but the rest of the guys, even though it's just a smattering of appearances, you got like Nimmo 1 for 8, Marte 1 for 4, Vientos is 1 for 3, but then Winker 0 for 3, just not a lot of good stuff from a strikeout perspective. So I am very, very squarely looking at an under here for Gallen. I need to see what the Mets lineup is, because what I want is a whole bunch of zone contact, because he's not making guys chase. So if you're going to make zone contact against this guy, he doesn't make you chase, and the Mets make good chase contact as a team anyway. It's going to be real hard I think, for Gallen to get this number. Now, I look at the Mets projected lineup, and I do see that there are virtually all of them. There are a few that aren't. I see Lindor, Soto, Alonso obviously are going to be high contact guys. But then even at the bottom of the lineup with Acuna, Alvarez, and McNeil are the 3 that, but you see McNeil's always had good zone contact. You see Marte's always had good contact. And Acuna, if he's in, he's actually one of the best on the Mets at zone contact. So if this is the lineup that they're going to put in, this is squarely an under spot for me. There in no way can I play an over. Gallen has been too far all over the strike zone. This Mets team can be got But a lot of times you can get them with a combination of being able to make guys chase and heat. And those are two things that Gallen is doing neither of. So if this is the projected lineup, and I'm just looking to try to see if there would be a guy that they could put in instead. I mean, if Singer catches, I guess, because Singer's a walking strikeout, that would make me maybe rethink it, just because he's a guy that could strike out twice. Right now, Vientos is really the only concern. I think that if Vientos and Beatty are both in, because both of them have some pretty low zone contact and some high swing rates, then I might pause on that. So I do want to just see the final lineup, but if Vientos is in there in a vacuum and Beatty and Singer are not, which I don't know if they would be, then I would be okay with an under on Mr. Gallen. So, all right. Before we go on to the next one, I want to welcome in Bet or Days. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining. And Cover Kings, welcome in, saying, surprise you getting in on Skeens. Yeah, I mean, I go where the numbers tell me to. And I go where the individual hitter metrics tell me to. And you have a great combination of past history. And you also have a number of guys who could be multiple strikeout candidates. And you also have that he's got Henry Davis now. He's really, really kind of gelling with Henry Davis as his catcher, and that's who's in today. And we have a fantastic umpire. We have Lance Barrett, not quite Bill Miller, but he's in the ballpark. Jody Newsom, thank you so much. Good morning to you as well. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you as always. And Justin in the house, thank you, my friend. Welcome in. So thank you, everybody. We got one more guy to talk about. And it's, oh God. If this were a regular day with a bunch of other top pitchers going, we wouldn't even be talking about this guy. But let's just get this over with. No, I'm kidding. Justin Verlander, striking guys out at a 21.1% clip. And he's more being talked about today because of who his opponent is and because of how he's lined. So this game goes at 9:45 Eastern time, and Verlander is up. Now, part of this is the Rockies tax. I've talked about this before, about how when you're going against high strikeout teams, there will always be that you usually raise guys by one strikeout, or they will put them at just ridiculous juice for one up from what their average is. Verlander is getting a little bit different treatment for this one. So he's all the way up at a 6.5 for the first time this year, and the first time since I can't even remember last year. So part of it is due to the opponent. I mean, we're just going to get that out of the way right now. Part of it is due to the opponent, but Verlander is only averaging 4.67 strikeouts. He has only gone over 7 strikeouts one time, or over 6 strikeouts one time. And that was against the Reds back on April 9th. Otherwise, he's even had games against high strikeout teams like the Angels where he's missed it. So the question becomes, especially because it's juiced on both sides, on all books, do you take a shot on Justin Verlander, just knowing that the opponent is that weak? And what I will tell you is, I'm not doing it yet, but I'm not going to be afraid to do it if I get a favorable lineup. So breaking this one down, Verlander is one of the highest, actually second highest zone rates of his career, 53.1%. He's also getting the highest zone swing rate of his career at 74%, but is allowing 77.9% zone contact, which is about 4% under pitcher average. So in the zone more, guys are swinging more, but they're making less contact. So this is a guy who's really modified his pitch mix. He's modified how he approaches starts, understanding his own limitations at this stage due to his age. So we go over to the Rockies, and obviously their contact metrics are just hideously bad, but their zone contact rate is especially bad. 82.8%. Only two teams worse are the Red Sox and are the Angels. So I see 82.8% for the Rockies, and I go to their projected starting line. I go to their projected lineup for tonight, and I do see that a lot of guys who are the ones that we like to pick on for the Rockies are projected to be in this lineup. Now, when we go and we compare their zone contact, there's a few guys that they actually have that are decent contact guys that I would prefer not to see if I am going to take a shot on Mr. JV. Number one would be Kyle Farmer, not projected to be in. Number two would be Amador, the young kid, but he is projected to be in, and he's had great contact metrics most of the year. He's projected to bat seventh. I would expect him to be in. But then it gets fun, because then you look at zone contact rates and you see that with so the overall average, you see the number right there for contact rate inside the zone. You see Jordan Beck, 69.8%, Moniak, 75.3%, Toglia, 76.5%. And these guys are all swinging in the zone a lot. Trejo, 72.7%. You also have Hunter Goodman, you have Ryan McMahon, and you have Brenton Doyle, all under league average. In fact, the only guy that is in this projected lineup that is over league average in zone contact is Amador. So normally I would want a guy like Aaron Schunk in the lineup. Tonight I actually don't, because Schunk is a guy who just swings at everything, but he does make contact in the zone. He especially makes contact against the type of four seam that JV throws. So I'm looking up and down, and if this is the lineup that we're going to get, I'm not going to be afraid on taking a shot on Mr. Verlander here. It probably wouldn't be anything more than a half unit. I might try to bring it down and put it with something else, but there's always the Rockies tax, but then there's the Rockies tax plus, and this is a Rockies tax plus because this man has hit 7+ in one of his 6 starts. He's not even averaging 5 strikeouts a game, and now they're going 1+. Whenever they go 1+, it's always something to at least pay attention to. His outs are set at 17.5, heavily juiced towards the over, which would indicate a 6-inning start. Hits, walks, and earned runs are all right in the wheelhouse of where they need to be. So the one other thing I wanted to mention about Verlander this year is that despite being like 100 years old, is that his four-seam fastball velo is up this year. It's up this year, and it's actually at its highest rate since 2022. 2022 was the last time that he had a higher velo than he had this year, 94.5 miles per hour, and he's running up to 96, 97. So if he's got that four-seamer working, his slider and his curve and his changeup are still generating whiff. And when you do that against this Rockies team, you can get strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. It's a new series, so I don't know who the umpire is. I'm hoping that it's somebody at least favorable so that it can be a nice little added bonus. But I've told the story time in and time out about the Rockies on this show before. I've talked about it with Sharpie before. We know swing metrics, they're just absolutely horrendous. And a few of their more disciplined guys are not projected to be in the lineup tonight. I'm assuming that's what's driving this what I call the Rockies tax plus, which is where not only does it go up, but you also get it a little bit extra from what he's at. Because really at home, this should be a 6.5. Slightly more juiced to the under. This should be like a -136, -137, somewhere in that range, with maybe slightly plus money on the over, but it's not. It's basically juiced on both sides, which I think it's due to what the projected Rockies lineup is. So I've not made a decision yet on JV. I am going to pay very, very close attention to what this lineup is. And I want to see, there's a few guys that I want in for sure, which are a lot of the guys they have now. And then there's a couple guys that I would prefer not to see in the lineup, them being, I would prefer not to see Shunk. I would prefer not to see Farmer. I would prefer not to see Tovar because all of them have pretty solid zone contact. So the lineup that they have projected right now works out pretty well for the way that the line is set. All right. All right. So we'll get into other bets and other stuff in just a moment, and I'll get to some stuff in the chat. Roger asks, anything stand out with Kikuchi versus Detroit? Detroit has struggled against lefties this year from a strikeout perspective. Kikuchi has had some just absolutely nightmarish starts. Now, he is it's interesting because he's hovered between a 5.5 and a 6.5 this year, and he's hovering between a 5.5 and a 6.5 now. And that's despite his outs being down and coming off of a 0 strikeout performance against the Twins, where he just absolutely got torched. So it's interesting that they would leave him there and that there would be enough confidence to give you a bettable under on a 6.5 on some books, because if you're paying attention to past history, he has not hit 7 strikeouts once this year. And so you're giving us bettable under juice for a 6.5 right after he got none against a team that, yeah, they've struggled with lefties, but not that much. So that it's a little suspicious to me. I'm going to wait to see how the line moves on this one throughout the day. I think I know what the lineup is going to be, but I want to see how the line moves. I also want to see how his outs move, because they move. It's interesting that they moved his outs down after he only got 6 outs against the Twins. And he got 16 in his previous start against the Giants. So they moved his outs down from 17.5 to 16.5, but then they kept his strikeouts the same, and in some cases even moved it up. Hits, walks, and earned runs are all right where they should be. And then Jody asked, would you put all these guys on one ticket or just do straights? I always do straights. I am not really a parlay person. There are times where there are instances where, like, you can pull a guy down and you can get it with another guy you pull down. What I mean by that is, like, say you want to pull Justin Verlander down to 6+ instead of 7+. And that's going to be heavily juiced. And then you take it with another guy that you're just not as confident with. So like if he's 5.5, you pull him down to 5 and you do that and you put those two together and you can get some plus money. There's if you're on DraftKings, there's the slider tool that they have there is actually pretty cool. You can play around with it and kind of mix and match guys if that's your thing. But me personally, Jody, I normally just give out straights, just do straights. I found that I'm just not a parlay person in general, especially not large ones. I know there's people that do them. I know there's people that love them. Or, sometimes if it's been, like, say, a good week, we'll do straights on the guys that I'm on. And then just for fun, put like lunch money on a 4 or 5 person parlay where I don't, like, $5, $10. Like, I don't care if I lose it. But as far as like main plays for the day, and VIP knows this, is that we almost always do straights. I think we've had Gallon and Verlander last Friday was our only parlay in like the last month and a half, and we hit it. But that was when I pulled them down because I didn't know if they'd both hit the number. So, but yeah, good question though. All right. We will go back to, we'll look to close it out here. If there's any other questions, please pop them in. But a couple other leans that I am looking on today. And again, these are just leans. These are, I think that I think that the Blue Jays, even though it's slightly juiced, Blue Jays money line has a little bit of value. It's at like minus 104, minus 105, somewhere in there. That can have some value. If you're looking for a plus money line, this kind of correlates with what I was just saying about Kikuchi, about how the line is a little bit peculiar, is that the Angels at plus 108, I think, can make sense. And then the other one, if you want even more plus money, if you want more gamble, I have just not been that impressed, super impressed this year with Taijuan Walker. A lot of Nationals hitters have some really good history against him. So Nats for the full game at plus 154, I think, has some value. If you want to take the Nats first five money line, you can do that as well. Not that Lord is like a lights out pitcher, but I'm just not sold on Taijuan Walker this year. And if you're looking at some totals, the totals that spoke to me were partially given who's pitching for the Rays, is that I think that the under can make sense there. So right now, I think it is at under 8 in the Rays. Yeah, under 8 or under 8.5 for the Royals and the Rays. And then I think that, and this is a little more chalky just based on like who's pitching on the one side, but under 7.5 for the Cubs and the Pirates. So that will do it for us today. Please, if you haven't yet, give the Daily Bread Network a subscribe on YouTube. Please give us a like. Please give the video a like. Please share it. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all y'all being here. One more time, Roger, Mario, Turn Around FanDuel, Mamu Betts, Uncle Stoner, Better Days, Cover Kings, Jody, Justin, and everybody. Please, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate y'all. Best of luck if tailing. We're back tomorrow. You get a double dose of me tomorrow if you follow me and Sharpie. I'll be on in the morning and then in the afternoon with him. So I'll tell you all about it. But best of luck. We'll see you tomorrow.